Hi, in this video, I will go over the information to include in your business research proposal. The Unit 2 document is, as you already know by this point, a business research proposal. It's really important that you read chapter 16 in the Markel textbook to get more background information about what content to include in your document and to also view the example. So in the Unit 2 folder, I have already provided a template for you to use that will make it easy for you to write the document. I have also provided some student written examples to just give you another idea of the content of the document. The student examples are not perfect, so do not copy them. Do not think that they're perfect. Use the template that I have provided, and in this video I will go over the information that you should include. All that being said, you should also make sure to just go through all of the things I've told you to do for this week and last week on the at a glance document to make sure that you have the whole context. Do not try to write this research proposal without reading the textbook and without getting a good understanding of the purpose of the document and the context. And absolutely do not turn in a research paper that you've done for another class, because this is business writing, technical writing, and the information is not going to match the required topic for this assignment and the required style for this assignment. I say that because every semester someone turns in some old research paper that is not related to the topic, and I'm like, what is this? So if you do that, you will receive a 0. This is your fair warning. Just do it right the first time. Okay. So let's go through this slide deck that you have access to. Again, it's inside of the Unit 2 folder on Blackboard. So let's just go through. So I'm going to kind of flip back and forth between this slide deck and this example. So this is the example from the textbook on the 13th edition, right? The 13th edition of the Markel textbook. This example starts on page 453 and it goes all the way through page 459. And the example in the textbook has lots of information along the side to let you know exactly what is included in the document and why. So I'm not going to read all of this content to you, but I will kind of go through the basis, which is shown here, which will be on these slides, and then just point it out on the example. So you have a little bit more support as far as using the example shown in the document. So at the beginning of your document, and this is shown in the template that I have already provided to you, you can include a little logo and the name of a business. You can make up a name of a business. You can make up the address. It's totally fine. But basically include something at the top to make the proposal look like a business document, make it look professional. And then, of course, you'll add your date, to, from, and subject. You can make all of this up. The from is you, so your name, and you can give yourself a title. And then the to, you can make it up as like Nicole Dials, instructor, whatever, and then instructor here, and then the person that works at the business. The business is up here at top. So you're just basically mimicking very simple business style letterhead and memo style writing, which you can read more about on the side. So starting with the purpose, so that's the top of the document. The next part will be the purpose. So in the purpose section, you're going to write 1 to 2 sentences that describe the purpose of the whole document. So if you have read the Unit 2 assignment description, you know that the purpose is to solicit approval to research which laptops your business should buy for the 10 new employees. Go back and read the Unit 2 assignment description if you do not know what I'm talking about, because by now you should know what I'm talking about. So your purpose should be very short. In this example, it's only literally 1 sentence, and that's totally fine. So let's move down to the summary. In the summary, you're going to write 5 to 6 paragraphs. This is the example shown in the textbook. So in the textbook, let's move down to the summary. So in the textbook, you can see that the summary is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs, pretty short paragraphs. That's fine. You can use 5 to 6. I'm really just looking for the content. Several people have emailed me and asked me how long exactly should the document be. I can't really tell you that. I'm looking for the content and making sure that the answers that are asked, and use the template in the outline to review the questions that you should answer. But basically, I'm looking to make sure that all of the questions are answered on the document, that it makes sense, that it's a clear explanation. So with that being said, I cannot give you an exact word count or anything like that. And in business writing, you almost never have a word count for a document because it's not the same as a general research paper. And it's not the same as maybe other documents that you have written. So I'm not trying to frustrate you, but my guidance is to follow what I'm telling you here, which is the same as what you'll see in the textbook, which is the same as what you'll see on the template. And it's the same as what you'll see on the outline. So just make sure that you're using all of this information together to create the content that goes in each section. Don't worry about exact word counts. I know that there might be a new strategy for you, but in business writing, that's what we have to do. We can't make up stuff and fluff up stuff more than necessary, right? So that's the answer to how long this document should be. I'm giving you general guidance. You may use less. You may use more paragraphs. Make sure the content is there. The questions are there. So that's my spiel about the summary and the document length. Okay, so moving down to the introduction section. So for the first draft, you are going to write the content that is on slides 1. Well, 1 is just our beginning slide. So basically 2 through 13. Most of these slides are the introduction section. For the first draft, unless I have instructed you to do so, do not write more than the introduction. Okay? I'm telling you that because you may be on the wrong track, and if you go and write the entire paper and I have to come back and say, hey, this is not right, you're not on the right track, then you have to start over. So do yourself a favor and follow my directions. Do not write more than the introduction section. So in the introduction section, the beginning paragraphs of the introduction section should give just basic information about the business. So looking in the textbook, you can see that there's just some basic information about, well, this in the textbook, they kind of include it at the end of the summary. You can also include it in the introduction. It's fine either way. but just some basic information about the business. And I am looking for how long the business has been in operation, the location, an explanation of what the business does or sells, and like who are the customers, and some quantifiable fact about the business. I'm asking for this content because you have the creative right to make up a business that would hire engineers that need new laptops, or that would hire new employees that need new laptops. So again, that's based on the topic that's shown on the assignment description. Go back and read that if you don't know what I'm talking about, but just give me a basic introduction to the business. So that's like your first paragraph. Next is the background of the problem. You're going to write 1 or 2 paragraphs to provide some details. You can use a fictional business or a real life business. For example, if you currently work at the university and your department wants to hire 10 new people, and those people will need laptops, you can write about that as a real life situation. If you currently don't work at a place that uses computers, then you'll need to make it up and use your common sense, a combination of your common sense and your creativity. So you could also write about a fictional business that maybe provides tutoring to students after school. And in that case, you would need 10 new laptops in order to give the students to, for their tutoring purposes. So that part is up to you, but the basis of the background, the basis of the problem needs to be you work at a business, the business needs to buy 10 new laptops. You have to tell me the context of why that is. That's the background of the problem. Okay, so explaining why research is required. So we explain in 1 or 2 paragraphs about why you need to research their laptops instead of just going out to buy them. And this is very common sense. Typically, you don't just go buy a new car or a laptop or whatever. You would do at least some research to figure out which one you need, even if the research just includes going to the store and talking to someone, or even if the research is just asking your friend what kind of new MacBook they have. You usually do some type of research. So think about it in that way, in a very common sense, real world type of way, and that will help you to explain it. The research benefits, very simple. Explain in 1 or 2 paragraphs about how researching the laptops instead of just going out to buy any laptop is important for the business. So that's related to what I was just saying. Identifying the research questions, the participants, and the methods, and the roadblocks. Okay, so let's go through these 3. So the research questions, the participants, and the methods are somewhat similar. So the research question, write 1 or 2 paragraphs to answer the following questions. What do you want to find out? We know that it's related to buying the 10 laptops for the business, so just expand on that. And what is your research question? So again, excuse me. This should be related to the topic that's listed on the assignment description. Okay, moving on. So we've talked about identifying the research questions. I have to record these videos in 2 parts, so my apologies if I repeat myself between what I'm saying now and what I just said, because I have to record these in 2 parts. So, okay, we talked about identifying the research questions. And again, just a reminder to go and read the general topic that's on the assignment description. Moving on to identifying the research participants. So you're going to write 1 to 2 paragraphs to answer these questions. Who should you talk to at the business to gather information about which laptops the company should purchase? So going back to the example of perhaps you are running an after-school tutoring company, and you need to purchase new laptops. So in that case, using, just real life common sense, who would you go talk to ask what they need in a laptop? You would go talk to the teachers that will interact with the students to figure out what kind of programs they use or what kind of things the kids need to be able to do on the laptops. So that is how you would get information about that. To give you another example, if you were, if you had a business that was an accounting firm and maybe the business was ramping up for tax season that's coming up next year, and you were going to hire new people to work at the accounting firm for the tax season. So in that case, who would you go ask about what kind of computers you need? So you would go and ask the people who already work there, or perhaps the managers, and you would say, as far as your questions, as far as the questions, so maybe some of your research questions would be, what type of software do they use for the accounting at the accounting firm? So you need to know what the computer is going to be used for in order to be able to figure out which computer to buy. And I'll give you another example. So I make these short videos for you guys, and I've made videos about other things. So when I was looking to buy another computer for my personal use, I went to Best Buy and I did online research to figure out what kind of software I needed to be able to run on my new computer. That was the main thing that drove which device I bought. So I'm trying to break these questions down and these examples down into real life common sense examples. I hope these are helping, but just in general, you need to know which questions you need answered in reference to which laptops the company should buy. Excuse me. And you need to know who to go ask those questions of. So I've given you some examples, and I hope that is helpful. So you'll need to answer this first one, which we've gone over, and how should you get the information from internal stakeholders to gather information about the company's needs. So to identify your research participants and thinking about how to get the information from them, don't overthink this. You can write that you are going to create a survey. You can write that you're going to email people or whatever. I hope that helps. I hope this is making sense. I will be available to answer questions during our labs also, but I'm just wanting to encourage you not to overthink this. Just think about pretend you're in a real life situation where you have to decide if your company should buy new laptops, and you have to research which ones they should be. So think about whenever you get stuck, just pretend you're in that situation again. Okay, so the next slide with identifying the research methods, this is related to what I just said. So you're going to write 1 to 2 paragraphs that answer these questions. How will you collect information from your primary sources? We just kind of talked about that. The answer may be that you send them a survey, or you do in-person interviews or online interviews, especially at the time of this recording. We're still going through the pandemic, so maybe you will not go and talk to people face to face. You may say that you would schedule a Zoom interview, or you will create some type of online survey or something like that. So just use your imagination, but within the context of what we're talking about. You'll also need to provide a little bit of context. So to answer, why did you choose that research method and what are the benefits of choosing that research method? Okay, and then the last slide that I'll talk about in this video is identifying potential roadblocks. So what might negatively affect your ability to gather information from your research participants? So let's pretend that you are writing about working at a doctor's office. You work at a doctor's office and your business is going to hire 10 new, doctors or nurses assistants. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Those 10 people need laptops. Now you need to talk to doctors and the nurses that already work there to learn about what laptops they need or the new laptops you should buy. So in that example, what might be something that would prevent you from being able to talk to the nurses or the doctors that already work there? Well, in that case, it's very obvious. So a doctor is usually very busy. So your roadblock would be scheduling time with the doctor, scheduling time with the nurses, or whatever. But I hope this is making sense that think real life, common sense. Don't overthink it. Okay? So that's the fun part about business writing. You can be creative, but everything that you write about is in the context of like real life. You're not trying to make up fantasy kind of crazy stuff. Okay. So those are the slides that I'll go through in this video in an effort to not overwhelm you. Next, we'll talk about the proposed tasks section. You are free to obviously read these other slides, go through and see what they're talking about, what I'm asking about. Use the outline and the template to write the rest of this. But for the first part of the assignment, your draft, you're only going to write the content that is required and discussed on slides 2 through 13. Excuse me. Very sorry for all of the throat clearing in this video. I obviously picked a day that I have allergy issues to record this for you. So let's hop back over to the sample internal proposal that is in the Markel textbook. We were already talking about it. So we've talked about the introduction and the purpose and the summary. So the introduction section, so you can see that this section is a few paragraphs and a bulleted list. That's totally fine to arrange the information this way as well. Let's see if we can make it a little bit bigger. Let's go back here. Okay, so here the first paragraph is just a bit of context like we've talked about, and then the introduction should provide a very clear explanation of the problem. This is another reason why I could give you word counts and stuff, but I think that it would create wordier documents, which I do not want you to practice writing. Another reason why I don't give an exact word count is because you are going to use your imagination and write about a business that exists or that you currently work for or whatever. And so the context of why that business would need a new set of laptops is going to greatly depend on what the background of their problem is and why and who they're hiring and all this stuff. So I do not want to curb your creativity as far as what you write about by giving you a word count. So not useful in this situation, but just use the guidance I've given you and read the examples and make sure that you read all of the side matter that the textbook has, because it provides you so much extra information about what is included in the document and why. Oops. Oh no. Go back. Okay. Okay. So, okay. And then on the last page in the textbook, at least, that is showing the introduction part, it says the writers paraphrase text from a memo Dr. Bremerton had written to them. Often in technical communication, you will quote or paraphrase your reader's words to remind him or her of the context and to show that you're carrying out your tasks professionally, and to give the reader the opportunity to change the direction of the study before it officially begins. So this last part especially is a nod to the purpose of a proposal. So a proposal is sometimes rejected. And the purpose of writing the proposal is to clearly outline the problem. And so the reader in real life, the reader might say, well, like, I've read this and I understand that we have a problem, but right now I am not going to authorize you to spend money to research new computers because we don't have the money, or we are no longer going to expand our business. So your proposal is rejected. Your proposal could be rejected for a lot of different reasons in real life. So that's why that's kind of the purpose of writing a proposal. Like, hey, we have this problem. Here are all the details about why this is a problem. Before we spend money on a new solution to this problem, we need to figure out, do we have enough answers? We need to do research. We need to gather information. And after you gather information, they may say, no, we don't want to continue with that. So that's giving you a little bit more of context about why you include all of the information in the proposal. So I hope that helps. So in this video, like I said, we went through slides 2 through 13, which is the introduction portion of your document. In the book, you would look at, this is page, let me get back to it in the actual book, page 453 through 459. So make sure that you consult pages 453 through 459, read the examples that I've given, use the template that I've given you, and use the outline, which shows all of the questions. I have worked very hard to try to make this as simple and easy as possible. So I hope this was helpful. Okay. As usual, if you have questions, please email me. Please do not go down the rabbit hole of writing this document if you have questions. Please do not attempt to submit a research paper from a previous class. I will recognize it immediately and you will receive a 0 and have to start over. And please make sure to just interact with all of the things that I've given you to help you be successful on this with writing this document. Okay, that's it. As usual, if you have questions, please email me at dialsin@uhd.edu. My apologies again for my allergies during this video, but hopefully this was helpful. I will see you in the next video. Take care.